where information is power.
Good afternoon. This WOL Traffic Update is sponsored by City Center, D.C. DC 295 southbound as you head into town. It was very slow as you head past Eastern Avenue. There was a work zone near East Capitol Street blocking the left lane, causing that delay. Northbound on 295. Pretty heavy also East Capitol Street up to Eastern Avenue. Gas main repairs close 24th Street Northeast between Monroe Street and Newton Street. 10th Street Northwest between U and V Streets also have gas main repairs there, and that is also closed. Brighten up the holiday season at City Center, D.C. Stroll underneath the twinkling lights of Palmer Alley or taste the holiday cheer in one of their delicious restaurants. Visit D.C. Center in the heart of downtown D.C. Now your WOL weather forecast for today, mostly cloudy, high near 49, clouds overnight down to 36 tomorrow, partly cloudy, and high near 45. Right now, D.C., it is partly cloudy and 46 degrees. Steve Hirschhorn for News Talk 1450 AM WOL, where information is power.
All right. Welcome back to Igniting Change with Barbara Arnwine. I'm your co-host, Attorney Daryl Jones, the board chair of the Transformative Justice Coalition, and we are so excited that you have decided to spend your Tuesday afternoon here on iconic WOL Radio, listening to Igniting Change. Folks, if you have missed any part of this show, we're celebrating a part of this show. We're fighting part of this show. We're doing everything that voters should be doing. We celebrate our victories, and we fight in the areas where we need to be in the streets fighting. We're celebrating today because the Tampa Fives case has been placed on a shelf, if you will, on an inactive docket, and they just have to play nicely with other people for a year, and then their case will be dismissed. So that's a celebration. That Tampa Five, they were down there in Tampa, Florida. They were protesting Senate Bill 266, which was dealing with diversionary equity and inclusion and trying to stop funding for state programs, state universities that were receiving money for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And they were protesting that and got arrested, and they were facing felony charges, facing up to a maximum, in some cases, of 10 years in prison. And today, this afternoon, we learned, and was announced here on WOL, that those charges have been placed on that inactive docket, on a diversionary docket, on the path to being dismissed. So we're celebrating that result. But we're also in the middle of this, Barbara, we're also fighting today, because we've seen what happens in the Eighth Circuit, where that court over there, the U.S. Circuit Court, Court of Appeals, for the federal district over there in the Eighth Circuit, has decided that you, as an individual citizen, you do not have a right to sue if your voting rights have been violated. You have to rely on the Attorney General's office to come in and help you out. Oh, by the way, the U.S. Attorney General's office since the last, 10 years has prosecuted less than 10% of these types of cases. 90% have come from the NAACP, from Black Voters Matter, from Transformative Justice Coalition, and similar organizations, voting rights organizations. Come on now. We see what's going on there. So we've got to be in the streets fighting for this. There are 14 different states around the country, 12 of which are not in that Eighth Circuit, not bound by that decision, that said that we think that what went on there in Arkansas is right. And the Attorney Generals have submitted briefs to the court, to the U.S. Court of Appeals court, saying we think that should be the law of the land in our states too. This is why we're going to get together. We're going down to Arkansas. It's our belief that the case is going to be filed for what's called an en banc panel, which means that the Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals, all 11 judges, will now sit and listen to the case and make a decision. And we plan to be there when that argument happens. But not only that, Barbara, what else are we going to be doing?
Oh, we're going to be organizing, and everybody knows that that's what we specialize in. It's on the ground organizing. And Adora, we must be on the ground with you in Florida. We got to, yes, and we got to do everything. Tell people what it means when we go into the streets. And when we go to communities and organize them to make sure people are registered to vote, that people know when to vote, that people got the tools to vote, that we can fight back all these evil voter suppression laws. Tell people what it means for us to be in the streets. It is
it means everything. People come out that never would have come out. They get so excited, and they got so excited, and they can't wait until you return. And that's the thing. Let me tell you, with the rolling power that they have in that bus and in the organization and your leadership, and I want you to know they have talked about you since you left, and they're waiting for you to come back, and it's an absolute miracle. I have to say. And you got so many young people. It's not that easy sometimes, but didn't have any problems having them to get on the bus. They still talking about the bus.
And we're coming. We're coming. Don't worry, John Lewis is coming. We will be there again.
It is awesome, and they enjoyed every moment of it. It's every moment, and they were there. They understood the mission. They understood what they needed to do, and yes, our voter registration and voter education was pushed up in its numbers, and people going to vote has been pushed up, and it's going to be even higher. We've got to be sure that we come and stay out there. We've really, really got to stay on the street to make this happen, because we've got to do it. Florida has to be an example of what other states will be doing too, and I know that because they're talking about it.
And we got to call Attorney General Moody out. We got to call out those other attorney generals. Let's talk about the other states. If you're listening and you're from one of these states, you want to be in touch with the Transformative Justice Coalition, you can go to tjcoalition.org, tjcoalition.org. Sign up, because we are going to take it to these states. We're talking about the states of Texas, Alabama, Georgia, Indiana, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Oklahoma, South Carolina, and Utah. All of your attorney generals filed, all of them filed, saying that this should be the law of the land, that we cannot sue, that we shouldn't have the right to sue under the Voting Rights Act to enforce its terms to make sure people are not discriminated against in voting. They want discrimination to have rampant reach all over the country. They want to stop us in the courts, and it's important, folks, for you to say, not in my name. Don't be using the authority of your office to speak for me and my money and taking away my rights. Oh, no, never. And because of that, we will be organizing. Right, Dianne? Right, Daryl?
Absolutely.
Right, Dora?
Absolutely. Yes, we have really large branches, and our youth and college division is strong. And so, every one of those states, they're going to have to deal with the NACP and all of our partners that we work with.
Tell me now. Absolutely. And we're not just talking, folks. We're going to be organizing. You're going to see our action in the streets. Right, Daryl?
Oh, absolutely, Barbara. The one thing that we believe in, we'll let you know that we're coming. We'll even tell you where we're going to be. And we're going to be there when we say we're going to be there. And I tell you, Barbara, I can tell you now, my phone's blowing up from people that we trained down in Florida saying, when you coming? I'm ready to go. It's time. So Dr. Louisa, what you were laying out is completely accurate. That, Florida right now, they're ready. They understand. They got it. They know what needs to be done. And that same mindset is going to go across Texas. It's going to go across Indiana. It's going to go across each state that we have the opportunity to touch. Because one thing about the African-American voter, when they know they've been wrong, they're ready to pull up their sneakers and go do what they got to do. And put on their put on their fighting shoes and get into the streets and get it right. Am I wrong, Dianne? You've been on the bus.
Absolutely. See, I don't even think that people are aware and prepared for the army that has been created. Adore, these young people, everywhere we go, they get ignited, right? Yes. And they're ready, and they're ready to be mobilized.
That's right. They're waiting.
Absolutely. And so, everyone, we want to organize. We want to call out these attorney generals in Florida, Texas, Alabama, Georgia, Indiana, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Oklahoma, South Carolina, and Utah. We want to call them all out, and we want to make sure that we stop them from misrepresenting the people of their state, that we make sure that we win this case. Ultimately, so we only have this lower panel right now that has in the 8th Circuit. We're going to have the en banc, the full court hear it. And we know we got to go up. We're going to end up in front of the Supreme Court. We got to battle, and we want everybody listening know that you are part of that battle. Right, Daryl? This is not just for the lawyers. This is not just for the activists. This is for everybody who believes in American voting and understand that you, as a voter, have a right to be heard.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And Dr. Nweze, if people want to get in contact with you, how do they reach you?
Just go to the website, NACPFlorida.com.
And would you like to give us a closing word from you? Closing message to our audience?
Absolutely. I want everybody to know that our leadership, our chairman of the board, our president and CEO, every one of the officers, those who are in the NACP units throughout this country, we are ready. We are organized. We're putting every quarter we can find, and we are going to be sure that we go to the polls. Our numbers are going to be large because we're going to make sure we do nothing else but focus on getting that vote out and voter registration for sure. And we just want you to know that we are thankful for you all who are doing this, the rolling bus is going, the John Lewis bus, as we call it, which it is, and the leadership that you are bringing to it is absolutely critical. And I just want you to know that you are needed, appreciated, but everybody's waiting. They used to wait on the bus years ago. We are waiting on the bus now.
And the bus is on the way to Florida. The bus is on the way to Texas, is on the way to Louisiana, on its way to Nebraska, on its way to Alabama. It's coming across the country, folks. And the bus ain't just coming. We're going to be bringing folks with us, and we're going to be registering folks to vote. We're going to get people off the sidewalks into the streets, demanding that our right to vote be protected, our right to bring cases to protect ourselves, not be dependent on an attorney general, but be dependent upon us as individuals, us as organizers, us as organizations fighting for voting rights. Folks, until next
And Daryl.
Yes, Bob.
And we're going to make sure we pass the Freedom to Vote Act and the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act here.
Absolutely. For next Tuesday, noon Eastern Standard Time. Peace, everybody.
Peace.
News Talk 1450 WOL-AM, where information is power.
Though Phi no longer drives, he can still fly down the track. Staying fit helps Phi stay flexible in his ongoing fight with retinitis pigmentosa, a blinding retinal disease. But even when the way forward is hard to see, Phi is always hopeful, because he knows he's not fighting alone. For 50 years, the Foundation Fighting Blindness has funded research into treatments and cures for blinding diseases, providing real hope to those fighting vision loss. And our nationwide community of local chapters provides networking and support for people with vision loss, as well as their loved ones. Because the best way to fight against blinding diseases is to fight together. And for Phi, winning the fight against vision loss means seeing new ways to push himself. The Foundation Fighting Blindness. Together, we're winning. Learn more about how you can help us end blinding diseases at fightingblindness.org.
Imagine if information came with a nutrition label. Then you'd know if what you're consuming has the right mix of verified facts, credible sources, and relevant context. But news and information don't come with a label. It's on us to develop a healthy news diet ourselves. Let's all resolve to strengthen our news literacy so we can make healthier choices about what news and information to consume, share, and act on. Test your news literacy fitness with our quiz at newslit.org. Exercise your right to be well-informed and get Newslit fit.
WOL Washington, D.C. W240DJ Washington. 95.9 WMMJ HD3 Bethesda. WKYS HD3 Washington. WPRS HD3 Waldorf and worldwide at WOLDCnews.com.
The views and opinions of the following show do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of News Talk 1450 WOL, Radio 1 Incorporated, or their management.